Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and for today's video, I thought it would be fun to show you all the makeup I brought with me when I went to London for 2 weeks over Christmas. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, my husband is from the UK, so we went to London for about 2 weeks over the holidays to spend time with his family, and we did actually stay with his parents. So that plays a bit of a role, I guess, in what I chose to bring. But I will start off by saying that I did not travel light, as you can probably tell from the size of this case. But that was what I chose to prioritize. I enjoy doing my makeup, so I wanted to make sure that I had everything with me. So I'll just kind of give you an overview of what I brought, and then we'll get into this larger case here. So as I said, it is quite substantial. I just realized I forgot to put my ring on, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'll talk about this in a second, and I guess I'll have timestamps down below. Let's talk about lighting. So like I said, I wasn't in a hotel room, but a couple things I brought worked pretty well for me. So this I'd actually had the last time we went to London. Ironically, it says Luna London, but I got it off of Amazon. And this is a foldable LED mirror. Comes with a little dust bag, I guess, and then also some bubble wrap that I kept just for extra protection. And I will link everything down below to the extent I can. And then I did have a USB charging cable, which I just keep in the bag so it's all together. So this is what it looks like. I guess it's about the size of like an iPad. Again, it's not the most compact, but I didn't really have like a vanity or anything. It's going to be hard to show you this without the reflection, but as you can tell, it has one large mirror portion here, and you'll be able to see my camera. What I liked about this, so it is rechargeable, but you don't have to have it plugged in, and then it's on and off. It's not the brightest mirror, but it did pretty well, and then it does have some different color temperatures. So again, that worked pretty well, and obviously you would put it like so to be able to look into it without holding it. So this worked pretty well for a larger mirror that's lit. And then I also brought this smaller, it's a bit fuzzy now, Ricky Loves Ricky mirror, I think it is. This is their travel one. And it does have a little kind of kickstand, like so, and also has this like finger part. And this, get it to like stay in there. I wouldn't say the build quality on this is maybe the best, but what I like about this is that it is super bright. So if I can kind of show you, even the lowest setting is honestly bright enough, and then it goes really, really bright, and it has 3 different settings. This is supposed to kind of stay in the packaging, but I can't get it to, just took a chunk of my nail. Yeah, so again, not the best build quality. This also has a little sleeve, and then it does charge via USB. That also came in handy like for my eye makeup, or where I wanted to be able to kind of see things up close. So wasn't too big, easily fit into my suitcase. So I was actually pretty glad that I brought that. We'll go ahead and talk about my nails. So I actually went over with bare nails. I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to do for my nails, because I don't know that I've ever had a manicure that lasted 2 weeks on me. So I actually brought these static nails, which I didn't end up using. I'll talk about what I did do, but yeah, I brought these, and then of course I also brought the glue and the like nail glue dissolver that I'll talk about. I am currently wearing a different static nail manicure. I picked up a few sets in their Black Friday sale, so I've been trying them out. This is the second set that I've worn, and I'll probably talk more about these in a future video. I just applied these a few days ago, and I already had one nail kind of pop off. So again, not really a long-term solution. This would have been fine for just Christmas and the day after, which is what I was thinking I would do, so I knew that they lasted, but I ended up just painting my nails with some cheap polish that I picked up from a drugstore over there, which I'll talk about in my London haul, which I need to film as well. So that was kind of what I did for nails. And I guess let's go ahead and talk about this. The nail glue dissolver that I purchased from Static Nails comes in a large dropper bottle, which is fairly heavy and large, so I didn't want to bring this whole thing. So I was kind of looking around in my collection to see if there was anything I could put it into. I didn't have just a empty dropper bottle or anything. So I ended up finding, this is kind of a mess, this like lip gloss container, which I might just end up throwing this whole thing away because it looks pretty bashed. But yeah, this was like a empty lip gloss applicator type thing that I bought a while ago for a different project. So I put it into there, but I didn't end up using it. And then as you'll see, this was one of the kind of primers that I brought with me, which is the Glossier Future Dew. And going over, I had it in this makeup container, but it was leaking a little bit. And so on the way back, I went ahead and put it in a plastic bag just to make sure that it wouldn't leak further. And I'd already had the plastic bag for this little guy just because I wasn't sure of how it would do in that container. So yeah, I just wanted to show you. I wouldn't recommend traveling with this necessarily. I did recently purchase the Make Beauty, I think it's oil and water emulsion, something like that, that Khaki has recommended, and she has compared it to the Glossier Future Dew but said that she liked it better. So I'm curious whether that would be more travel friendly or not. But I do have pretty dry skin. London, as you know, it rains a lot. It's quite humid. So given the other complexion products I had, I guess I didn't need to be so concerned about keeping my skin well hydrated under makeup. But anyway. So I have one standalone larger palette that I brought. This is the Huda Empowered that I think I filmed a look with in my Sephora, what do they call it, holiday savings event. And my husband had requested that I redo that look for Christmas, so I went ahead and brought this. I could have probably done without this palette. It does have a nice big mirror, which is good. A couple things that did come in handy. I did do the same look basically for Christmas, which was nice. I really like that Bold Moves shade. There's some other kind of mattes that are useful. There was another look I did with the Courageous and Visionary shades, which I thought was just okay one day. But it did have a black and a brown cream shadow, I guess. But I like using that black for liner. So in that way, it was kind of dual purpose, and I was able to get some use out of it. And then we'll talk about brushes. So I have this, I think it's from Bare Minerals originally, and I think I got this off of eBay years ago now, so it wasn't something that I purchased new. But it does hold a lot of brushes, and I'll refer back to this in a moment. But yeah, Bare Essentials, Bare Minerals. It holds a lot, and I just kind of put my eye brushes in here going over. I put all of the brushes I brought coming back just to kind of make things a little bit easier in my suitcase. But yeah, these are the eye brushes I brought, and once it's all folded up, it's, I think, fairly compact, especially when it's not like totally full. So let's just go through here. I brought a lash comb and eyebrow brush. Kind of my favorite eye brushes, really. I didn't, I guess, limit myself in terms of what I could bring and travel brushes or whatever. So I like this Sigma Large Fluff E50 for setting my primer, basically putting a matte shadow all over the lid. For, I guess, packing on color, shimmers and that kind of thing, I like the Chikuhodo GSN9 and the Refert 28. These are really dirty, by the way. I need to wash them. I haven't washed them since I've been back because I wanted to kind of show you all this. And then I also did bring a synthetic version of that type of brush. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy A505, which is really great for liquids and creams. And let's see, this I brought for kind of my inner corner if I wanted to put anything on there. This is the Refert 26. It's a very large pencil brush. This is my favorite brush for underneath the lower lash line. If I want to add a little bit of shadow, this is the Sonia G Flat Definer. And then I have a variety of different kind of crease and blending brushes. So I have basically most of the Sonia G Sky Eye set, I think it is. So let's see. The mini booster, I like to add obviously depth, and with more pigmented or darker matte shades, I like to start with that in the crease. And then the classic crease from Sonia G is really good for blending. Also, while I'm talking about blending, this is the MAC 224. This is a synthetic brush, but this was part of their, I think, limited edition collection from fall 2021. And yeah, I really like that one for blending as well. And then this is the Jumbo Blender, which I always kind of think of as my airbrush or get out of jail type brush, where if I get too carried away, this is really great for blending out any harsh edges or really dark colors or anything like that. So those are my blending brushes. And then I also have my little BK Beauty 208 brush for eyeliner. So those were my eye brushes, and I think I might have used all of them. Like, honestly, I could have maybe just brought one of these brushes. I mean, I could have done with less, but those are the brushes I typically reach for the eyes anyway. And then this, as I mentioned before, is my larger makeup collection, and I did check this. It also has my fragrances, which I'll go through. So yeah, I wasn't trying to avoid liquids or anything like that. I just put everything into this kind of one large container. So on the subject of brushes, these are the face brushes I brought. So I have my Rephr 22 for bronzer. And this is how I brought the brushes over, like I said, but with the brushes in here, it's a little bit domed. So just to, again, help the packing process coming back, which was a bit precarious, I took them out and put them in that other brush roll so that I could put it in my carry-on luggage. So Rephr 22, this is the e.l.f. small tapered brush for setting underneath the eyes primarily, and also I use this basically as an all-over powder brush. I guess that's one area where I kind of sacrificed a little bit for travel. Sometimes I'll set all over the face with this brush. Sometimes I will grab a larger powder brush, but this one worked fine. My blush brush is the Rephr number 5. Also, I brought the Angie Hot and Flashy A507 for one of the blushes in particular I wanted to bring. And then I brought the BK 101. I know they make, I think, a travel set with this brush, but anyway, I just have the larger one. And then also the Angie Hot and Flashy A506. So I use this for concealer, this to blend out my contour primarily, and I think that was it. So this also has a zippered compartment where I put my Sigma switch. I don't think I actually ended up using this all that much, so I probably could have skipped on this, but this was another thing that kind of made the lid a little bit bulky, so I probably could have gone without that. Talking about what I ended up using instead of that, a couple things I brought that I didn't end up really using. I had a set of these like mini makeup erasers that I didn't use. I ended up bringing one large makeup eraser. The one I brought was actually black and it's in the wash, but this did fine for both removing any like foundation or anything that I put on the back of my hand, and also I think if I had to wipe off a brush, this one seems to have something stuck in it. If I had to wipe off a brush, I would just wipe it on here. Or I also brought just a basic gray microfiber cloth like this one. This I just got in a pack off of Amazon. I know Sonia G, I think, sells something similar, but that worked well enough, having one of these and having one of the larger makeup erasers for 2 weeks. And I didn't wash them at all, although we did do laundry at one point. As long as I made sure they were kind of hung up so that they would dry, they were totally fine. So yeah, and there's a lot of real estate here as well, so you can always find a clean spot, and I think this is a pretty travel-friendly little item if you have the room. I also did bring a solid Beauty Blender cleanser and some disposable gloves, because I always wear gloves when I wash my brushes because I have eczema. So I didn't end up washing my brushes at all. So I could have, I guess, done without that, but I guess you never know. All right, so let's go ahead. I guess I'll talk about fragrance. So in this little corner here, I have five Jo Malone mini colognes. So I probably could have gone with just one. We are talking about going back for Easter in April, so that would be a shorter trip. The reason we went for 2 weeks this time around was, I guess, one, we hadn't been back since December 2019, and the other was it just worked out so that the flights were much cheaper that way. But I think Easter, it shouldn't be kind of too bad. But anyway, I just brought a sampling of 5. Most of these are from like holiday collections that they've done. So I had green almond and red currant, white moss and snowdrop, velvet, rose, and oud, orange bitters, and ginger biscuit. So I think I did wear all of those at least once, and I'm the type of person that I do like to rotate my fragrances. I probably could have done with only having one. I did try to actually purchase the travel spray of the Tom Ford Velvet Orchid right before we left because it was half off, but that I guess was out of stock, so that order was canceled. Okay, so that was fragrance, and just kind of get some room here. So one of the nice things about this particular, I guess, style of makeup bag is that all of these little dividers are removable and kind of repositionable. And I do have some extra, I guess, little inserts here that I haven't used. Honestly, I think I would prefer to have more of these longer ones. I don't know how many come with this originally, but I have these 3 smaller ones that I just took out. But yeah, it makes it so you can kind of arrange your makeup collection however you like. So I guess I'll kind of go in order of application here. So along with the Glossier Future Dew, which I've already talked about, I did bring a little pot of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I think I only wore once. The fragrance on this is a little bit strong for my taste, so I probably could have done without this. I did, I think, most often reach for the what is this? The Glowy Super Gel Star Glow Illuminator. So this is in a nice small little size. I think this was actually a like sample size because this I think is their smaller like size that they sell. So it's always nice having little samples of products that you already like for travel. So that was really great. And then I also have, of course, my Charlotte Tilbury under eye corrector, which I've made good progress on. And this is a full-size product, but it's relatively compact. So after that, let's see, I put my foundation in its own little container here. So I brought the Makeup Forever Reboot, which is a pretty light coverage foundation, and I was wearing makeup not only for like special occasions like Christmas, but also just kind of every day. And this is a really good foundation for that. Obviously, it's a little bit large and heavy because it's a glass bottle, but I decided to just stick with something that I knew I would enjoy and worked well for me. So that was foundation. For concealer, I brought 2 different ones. I brought the Dior Backstage, which I don't know if it was a factor of travel or just general use before that, but it seems like the lid area has gotten kind of gunked up, so I don't know what caused that, but I probably need to wipe that off. But anyway, I brought that for kind of blemishes, and then for underneath the eyes, I brought the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Light, which I've reviewed, and this is my kind of go-to lightweight hydrating concealer, so I really like that one, and I think these two kind of pair well together from a like complexion texture standpoint. For contour, I brought a couple things. I brought the KVD Gel Contour in Fair Cool 90. I didn't actually end up using this, I don't think, even though I've used it tons, partly because it's a little bit warmer, I think, and I have to be a little bit careful making sure I blend it all out. So just for kind of a more foolproof option, I have the Fenty Matchstick in Amber. I know they have a lighter amber now, but this shade works just fine for me. And I did also try to get a mini size of this, which they've sold at one point. I don't know if it's discontinued or out of stock or what, but they do sell a smaller travel size of this, even though this is, again, pretty travel friendly, I would say. All right, so that was contour. For brows, I brought both a tinted brow, I brought the Kosas Air Brow in taupe, and just a clear brow gel. This is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. Again, I'm not sure if this is a full size or it might be a full size. But anyway, I brought that for a clear option. And what should we talk about next? Go ahead and talk about this. So this obviously is a beauty blender, and I have it in this little case. I didn't bring a foundation brush, I just have the sponge, which I think is my preferred method for most foundations. And yeah, I don't know, it works out pretty well. Again, it needs a wash. And for powder, I brought two different options. I have a travel size of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in the shade 1 Fair. The thing that was a little annoying was having two compacts that were almost identical. So I tried to kind of keep one. They even have basically the same writing on the back. They both say 1 Fair. So I tried to keep the corrector with more of the kind of liquid priming products. And then I also brought the By Terry Hydra Pressed Hydra Powder. The Charlotte Tilbury I think is a little bit more mattifying, a little bit stronger, and the By Terry I think is a little bit more hydrating, but yeah, I brought both of those. These are both nice travel sizes that I have. For bronzer, I only brought one bronzer. I kind of wished that I had brought the Makeup by Mario Transforming Skin Enhancer. I decided not to because the brush I like to use with this is the BK 105, and I just didn't want to bring this brush. So I opted not to bring this product. I probably could have found another brush that worked, but I decided not to use it. So instead I brought the Gucci bronzer in the shade 1. And I know people have talked about this before, but Gucci makes it look like this is removable, but it's not. So I ended up bringing the compact. And then for blush, I brought a few different options. So this MAC Glow Play Blush in Blush Please. This is what I brought the Angie A507 brush for. So that's a really nice kind of easy everyday blush. And I also brought the Gucci blush in 05 Rosy Beige. A lot of the blushes I brought are kind of similar. I probably, could have maybe only brought one of those. I also had this little sample of the Laura Mercier blush in Rosé. So a little bit more of a pink tone. And then I also brought this blush from Tarte, which is, what is it? Dollface. Another little kind of sample or travel size. So I probably could have been a little bit more discerning with the blushes I brought. I used this one the most, I think. I don't think I ever used the Tarte. I think I might have used both of these at least once. So I probably could have kind of pared it down, but I like having options. Okay, so let's see. Talking about cheeks, I also brought the Hollywood Beauty Light Wand in Spotlight. That was just enough for me. Most days I didn't wear highlighter anyway. And then for eyeshadow, in addition to the Huda palette, I also brought this one from Pat McGrath. I kind of threw this in at the last minute because it just kind of fit. So this is the, ooh, that one shade looks like it had a chunk taken out of it. So this was the Nude Allure palette from their holiday collection, and I did use all of the eyeshadow palettes at least once or twice, if not more. So I think that is the one area where I really appreciated having that variety. And some of these were a bit sentimental, I guess you could say. So I brought the Viseart London Etoile palette, which I used at least once or twice, and it had some good kind of basic mattes as well. So that was a nice little palette. I think in the future, I think having more smaller palettes or maybe one larger palette I don't know. I think you get more variety in terms of color stories with smaller palettes. But anyway, I also brought the Lisa Eldridge palette in Vega, which I used several times. And to spoil a bit of my London haul, I did pick up their Cinnabar palette while I was over there, but this one is still my favorite. And I was kind of showing my mother-in-law some of the items I brought, and she was really captivated by this particular palette, so I ended up getting it for her for Christmas while I was over there. So this one is a great palette. Really love the look I get out of that. I forgot to mention I did bring a eye primer. This one is from Fenty, and I think only one eyeliner. So I brought the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in Cocoa, which worked well. I really enjoy this, and I had that black cream shade in the Huda palette, so I at least had that option if I needed something that wasn't brown. I have purchased the liner in Ash from Victoria Beckham because I was really, especially for this Lisa Eldridge palette, I really felt like I needed or wanted a gray liner to go with this. So anyway, and then the last few items here have a little pencil sharpener. This one is the one that came with the Victoria Beckham liner, so I threw that in there. And just a few more things. And just to show you that this whole thing pops out if you wanted it to. These all pop out, so you can make it an entirely open compartment if you wanted. So for the eyeshadows, I really enjoyed having this little bottle of Fix Plus. Sometimes I like to use Fix Plus as a setting spray, but this was also just really handy for, I guess, foiling any shades if I thought I wanted to do that. So really enjoyed having that. And have my eyelash curlers, of course. This I didn't end up using, but it's, I guess, a travel lash brush and lash comb, so probably could have done without the full size. I wasn't, I guess, too pressed for space in the makeup bag that I chose to bring. I guess next time we go over I probably need to bring a smaller one, but anyway. So my mascaras, I brought my Clinique Bottom Lash and my Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. And for lips, I know I brought a couple things. I had, and this is my like plain toiletry case, I guess you would call it. And strangely enough, going out of the US towards London, you didn't have to take this out of your carry-on, but you did have to on the way back. So I guess different countries just have different regulations. If you'd like me to go over what I brought as far as toiletries or this little bag or whatever, let me know. But yeah, I brought the Dior Lip Glow Oil in 001 Pink. And then this was also a really great option to throw on, the Tower 28 Shine On Lip Jelly in Sesame. So those were really easy things to throw on for lip product. Another little perfume sample I have in here. I just brought this little roller ball of the Nest Seville Orange, I guess, just in case I needed something a little bit refreshing, but I didn't end up using that on the plane. Yeah, I think that was basically it for kind of beauty items. And then for kind of more pigmented colors, I brought this lip gloss from Pat McGrath in Flesh 6. And then I also had the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Ribbon set. So this is the lipstick in Velvet Ribbon, just a nice red, and also the pencil. And I did also end up getting my mother-in-law this lipstick for Christmas. And this is something that really should go in my airplane kit again. They're little kind of reusable silicone Q-tips. And I guess at one point I was doing my makeup and I needed a Q-tip to clean up some eyeshadow or whatever. So I don't think these are great for that. I would prefer a normal Q-tip, but in a pinch they were, I guess, the best option. I'll go ahead and tell you what I use these for, even though you're going to probably think it's really weird. So on a plane, especially one that's like 7 or 8 hours, I don't know, my nose gets really dry, and I've heard that that's one of the reasons you get sick when you fly, is that if your nose dries out, all the germs and bacteria or whatever can get into your body more easily through like a dry nose. I don't know if that's true or not, but even just for comfort, what I'll do is I'll take a little container of Aquaphor or Vaseline or whatever, and I will take sometimes a disposable Q-tip, but you know, this is a way to kind of keep it contained. And I'll scoop out some on the Q-tip and run it around the inside of my nose just to kind of keep things nice and hydrated and comfortable. So that's my, I guess, weird little flying hack for you. But yeah, I think that is everything really that I brought. I'd also brought these Wander Beauty eye masks. Sometimes I like to put these on, or once like it, before I do eyeshadow if it's going to be a more dramatic look, to catch any fallout, and also of course to hydrate the under eyes. I thought it was kind of appropriate to bring a Wander Beauty product while traveling. These are the baggage claim gold eye masks, which is kind of fun. I didn't end up using those, however. So I hope you found this interesting and maybe gave you some ideas of what you may or may not wish to bring with you. And I'm happy that I will finally be able to put all of this away now, because I've kind of been keeping it in that case for the last few days. Yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys are all doing well and having a wonderful start to 2023. Until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.